What's up, you guys, and welcome to the first episode on Mysterious Britney Files. Basically, I didn't really announce this. I wanted to actually record it and then post it as a video. I didn't plan to do this live. But until I get back into things a little more, I think I'll just go this route before purchasing all kinds of software and, live things and ways to record things. Yeah. All right, hold on. There's a comment. Hello there. Norwegian. I get that. Norwegian. All right, welcome. So basically, I am going to watch alongside you guys today's live version of the Amber Heard defamation trial. All right, let's get it going.
Questions. You submitted a declaration under the penalty of perjury in this case. Do you remember that?
That is correct.
Okay, let's look at that declaration.
Yeah, you are the only viewer at the moment. I didn't tell anyone about it. I really wasn't planning to do a live. So I hope you enjoy it anyways. Let's watch.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I really don't want to watch all the boring stuff. I just kind of want to get going. Here we go.
All right.
And the reason that we need to go through this, Ms. Heard, is because we understand that these are very serious allegations that you're making.
Can I just say that Camila Vasquez
Yes.
is amazing. Like, the way that she went about things in court today, which you'll see, blew my mind. It's just another level. And also, I felt like this cattiness tension between the two. As we know, the media is trying to spin like there's like a love interest between Johnny and Camila, right? So I think that Amber has obviously gotten whiff of that, and that she just really does not like Miss Vasquez at all. And you can tell throughout today's entire court like the entire day, you could tell. See, almost all 8 or so hours. Let's see. I seen it live. Yeah, I watch it each day. I'd been planning on doing this, but way before now. Yeah. All right, let's get back into it. Sorry.
Okay, so let's go through them. Page 4506, line 2 through 3. I sit here now. Apologize. You testified on page 4506. This all started when Mr. Depp took 8 or 10 pills of MDMA, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Then, directing your attention to page 4518. Line 19. You talk about Mr. Depp smashing a wall-mounted phone, correct?
That is correct.
Then on page 4519, at line 3, you testified that while Mr. Depp is smashing the phone, he is screaming, quote, "I fucking hate you," end quote, right?
Yes, he was screaming that, among other things.
And further down on page 4519, same page, lines 12 through 19, you talk about how you watched Mr. Depp smash the phone to smithereens, right?
That is correct.
Then, continuing on same page, 4519, line 20, you say something really important. Quote, "At some point, he's on top of me. No phone, but screaming the same thing," end quote, right?
I just remember the sound. Yes.
But you remembered, and you testified to this jury, that he didn't have the phone in his hand anymore.
When he was assaulting me with the bottle,
Right.
he had the bottle in his hand when he was punching the wall with the phone, he had the phone in his hand. When he was punching the wall next to my head, he had me by the throat. He did a lot of things that night.
So you're acknowledging by this sequence, not my words, your words, Ms. Heard, that you testified to this jury that Mr. Depp smashed the phone to smithereens before he assaulted you. That's the sequencing in which you testified, correct?
I have never testified to a sequence.
Keep talking about that sequence. Then on page 4521, starting at line 3, you testified to being bent over backwards on the bar, right?
Okay.
Yes, I do. I've given a couple.
If we could please pull up the deposition transcript, day 2,
There we go.
at 589, lines 6 through 8.
Thank you.
Love how Amber's just looking at all this, kind of like, Jesus.
Your Honor, we're going to play Ms. Heard's deposition for the jury, line day 2, page 540, lines 6 through 9. If we have permission to publish it.
Do I
Excuse
believe
me,
her?
I'm sorry, day 2, page 589,
I believe that,
line 6 through 8.
like most, I believe there's a lot of truth scattered in the mix. I believe that she,
Page
hold on.
589, lines 6 through 8.
in my opinion, I believe that she has kind of somehow convinced herself that everything she says is true. And you can tell that it isn't. She seems to like to stretch the truth, I guess. I believe that they both were abusive towards one another, honestly. I just think that she tried to use it against Johnny. She was more or less setting him up. It's like a lot of these times she starts the arguments, and almost always the physical elements of those. I don't believe that Johnny ever hit her or anything. I think that if anything, he might have been mentally abusive, which doesn't make it any better. But I believe that she was also. I just think that she felt as if doing these things was going to put her where she is now. It's just that I believe she thought it would go a lot better than it is going now. I think that she felt that it would go like it did in the UK, you know? I think she thought that all of this would just help her career. And it's obviously not going to be doing that, especially after today. I want to get to some of the funny moments that, I just really enjoyed. I hate to see anyone in this situation, but when you look back at all of the things that she did, and Johnny, but when you look at all of the things she did, all of the recordings, just everything, you can see a big picture. This is what she wanted, and really she's just getting what she wanted, just not in the way that she wanted it. We don't always get what we want. We get what we get. And most of the time, it's not what we want. That's what I believe. What do you think?
.589, lines 6 through 8.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
And he was your doctor at this point, right?
Yes, he was.
Debbie Lloyd also came to the house that day.
Yes, she came with Kipper.
Miss Lloyd is a nurse, correct?
That is correct.
Malcolm Connolly also came to the house that day.
Does anyone
Yes,
else
that's
think that
correct.
it's extremely
Connolly is one
weird
of
the
the
amount of
jurors,
eye
correct?
contact
That
that
is
she gives to the jury? Like, I get wanting them to know that you see them, but nobody wants to be stuck over there being stared at by Amber Heard. It just, I don't know what she's thinking. I don't know if she's thinking she's in a movie right now. All I know is that she's being very deceptive, and the court of public opinion is definitely not in her favor. I absolutely agree. I do have to say, though, that after watching today's episode of the trial, I kind of looked at her. I tried to look at her more different. I tried to be more open minded and not so already set in my opinion of things in her, and she still couldn't sway me, even though I was trying to look at things through these situations. It didn't make a difference. I just think that she's really screwed up. She shouldn't have tried to further her career by having the op-ed posted. And clearly the only time that she stated, that she was abused was with Johnny. So, I mean, who else was she talking about? And then another thing, though, I mean, haven't we all posted to Twitter? And when you share something on Twitter, you don't actually have the opportunity to change the title, but she could have chosen a different link that didn't have that title necessarily. I don't know. Let's continue.
Is correct.
You had known Mr. Connolly for years at that point.
Yes, that's correct.
You flew back to Los Angeles the next day with Ben King. Is that right?
I can't be certain if it was the next day or the day after, but somewhere around there, yes.
And the day you arrived back in Los Angeles, you saw Travis McGivern, correct?
I don't recall seeing Travis, no.
You don't recall Mr. McGivern picking you up from the airport with Ben King?
I don't remember that, no.
And the same day, you also saw your own nurse, Erin Barem Filati, that day, correct? The day you arrived in Los Angeles?
I don't recall if I saw her that day.
You saw Ms. Filati's testimony in this case by video deposition, correct?
That is correct.
And you heard her testify that she saw you the day you arrived back from Australia on March 9th, 2015.
I believe she testified that she came to dinner where I was with friends. Yeah, I believe that.
So she saw you that day.
I believe that evening I saw her at dinner.
And then you saw Erin Barem Filati again the next day for a private meeting, didn't you?
I'm not sure. If that's what she testified to, I'd have to just see the records to know.
You heard her testify. He was
I
avoiding
didn't talk to him about the drugs.
and he was
All right, let's go back
avoiding
a second here. 124.
5 bathroom doors and 2 bedrooms.
Johnny is not an accurate historian of what happened during
Ms. Heard,
that
Ms.
period
Heard,
of time. I'll guarantee
Ms.
you.
Heard, that's not my question. 5 bathroom.
Through today's trial, there was a lot of that. Miss Heard, that's not my question. Just things of that nature. See, do you think Johnny is going to win this? Yeah, I think he already has one. But we don't know what these jurors are thinking, and that's just the thing. That's why they're cut off from people like me and big media outlets. They're not allowed to watch those things. They're not allowed to discuss with other people outside of the courtroom because they don't want their judgment to be swayed based on something that's not a matter of fact shown in court, right? Do I believe that Johnny will win? Yes. Is it like 100%? No. I mean, it's not 100% that he's going to win. But I do believe that he's got his career back. I do believe that her career is over. Absolutely.
Bathroom doors, 2 bedrooms. That's what you knocked on.
I
That's
was
what
there.
actually happened in Australia, isn't it, Ms. Heard?
I was there.
So that's
I
no?
remember it. I knocked on one bathroom door. I came on the first night after he decided to take the bag of MDMA.
Ms.
And I
Heard,
went to check
Ms.
on
Heard,
him and see
I'm going to
if we
move to
could-
strike everything after I knocked on one bathroom
She
door.
can't do that. She's answering the question. Not quite, so I will sustain the objection. Just answer the question, okay, ma'am?
The recording we just listened to, that's exactly what happened in Australia. Mr. Depp lost the tip of his finger.
Today she got ate up so much it almost made me feel bad for her. And then I reminded myself why she was in this situation in the first place. You know, she really only has herself to blame, right?
After you threw a bottle at him. Isn't that right?
That is incorrect.
You're the one who
Camila is like vicious as hell. I mean, she is just really good at what she does. And she's beautiful too. Absolutely beautiful. And I do think that her and Johnny would make a cute couple. What do you all think?
assaulted someone with a bottle in Australia. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
I didn't assault Johnny in Australia. I didn't assault Johnny ever. I couldn't.
And then after he was injured,
She couldn't.
had to
She
hide
couldn't
him, right?
ever assault him. We'll see.
That is
5
incorrect.
bathrooms, 2 bedrooms,
That is incorrect.
and you would pursue him
That is incorrect.
because he was avoiding talking to you, right?
He did that first night when
he was
I tried to
avoiding-
talk to him about the drugs.
And he was avoiding working it out.
No, he was avoiding agreeing to not fight about the drugs.
You weren't scared of him at all, were you?
I have a mixed relationship with Johnny, and one in which I'm scared, one in which I love
Clearly,
him
she's
very
not
much.
scared of the
I'm not talking
monster.
about your mixed relationship. That night in Australia, after you cut off his finger with a bottle, you weren't scared of him at all, were you?
This is a man who tried to kill me. Of course, it's scary. He's also my husband.
Sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendant's
Tried to
exhibit
kill her.
371.
Okay. See, Amber's problem, she cannot decide whether she wants to be the victim or whether she wants to be a badass. She says she's scared of him, but yet she's the one always starting these physical altercations that we keep hearing about. Never Johnny. He was literally hiding in the bathroom to keep from having this confrontation with her. And that's actually how most of it went on was, you know, she was trying to get to him, trying to go through the door. And then the door scraped her toes because she was forcing herself through the door to get to Johnny to argue and fight. And then she punches him because the door, you know what it feels like when like a door catches your toes, the tips of your toes, how much that hurts. So she punches him because that happens, and it would have never happened had she just let him be. Bless you.
Do not believe these have been admitted into evidence.
No. I don't have.
If we can scroll down, please. No.
Ms. Bretterhoff, if you don't have your microphone on, I cannot hear you. You still don't have it on.
Redacted, oh. I need to take a look at the unredacted for a minute, Your Honor. Just bear with me.
I'm not admitting it into evidence yet. I would like to just
Okay,
talk to the
yes.
witness about it
Go
if I
ahead.
could. Thank you, Your Honor.
And Amber's poor attorney. Oh my God. Like, has she ever been in a trial before? Is it the bright lights? Is it all the people? What is it? Why does she not know how to build foundation to question from? It's embarrassing the way that today's trial went for her.
But I'm going to show you what's been marked as defendant's exhibit 371. Do you recognize these text messages between you and Dr. Cowan?
I don't recognize these, no.
Who's Dr. Cowan?
He was my therapist that was recommended to me from Dr. Kipper. He and Dr. Kipper worked together.
He was your therapist at the time, correct?
That's correct.
And you had been seeing him for almost a year in March of 2015?
My guess would be about 6 months at that point.
Your text messages are in gray, correct?
Your Honor, I'm going I'm going to ask that she show her the unredacted so that she can see the text exchange back
All
and
right, if
forth
you
if she
can-
wants to talk about
Absolutely.
All right, we'll
moving
pull
in
that up. Sure.
redacted later.
That's good.
Thank you.
Pull it up.
Seeing these unredacted messages, just this refresh your recollection that these are indeed communications between you and Dr. Cowan.
Yes, that's correct.
Doctor, your text messages are in gray, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Dr. Cowan's are in blue?
That is correct.
You see the text message at the bottom of the page from March 8th, 2015 at 8:29 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
March 8th is the day that you were allegedly sexually assaulted by Mr. Depp in Australia.
Oh.
That is correct.
So on March 8th, 2015, you were in Australia,
That is correct.
and Mr. Depp's finger had just been cut off, right?
That is correct.
And you write to Dr. Cowan, quote, "I feel so lost. I can't talk. I don't know if I'll ever be able to change." End quote. Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
You weren't able to change, were you, Ms. Heard?
I very much wanted to leave the relationship I was in, but I didn't have the power. I didn't feel I had the power to leave. I knew I was in a very toxic relationship with Johnny, and I knew I needed to change that. I knew it was, at this point,
What I feel that Amber's actually stating here is that she couldn't leave yet because she didn't have enough evidence. She didn't have enough investment. She wouldn't get enough out of it. The whole point of the whole situation to me, in my opinion, was for her to gain, in her career, in the spotlight, the popularity, money. I mean, those are all my opinions about the situation, but she kind of guides you to believe in that as much as she doesn't. And normally, when someone's hiding something like that's their actual motive, they'll talk a lot about that not being the motive. And it seemed to piss her off the most to be called a liar or a gold digger. And my best opinion, that's because she is all of those things.
it's often about that.
Defendant's Exhibit 371 as redacted with just Ms. Heard's messages.
All right.
Your Honor, I object because she has left out the next two lines from Ms. Heard that clarify even further. And I also think
Ms.
that Dr.
Bredehoff,
Cowan's.
Could you
Your
show-
Honor, may
changes should
we
be-
Yeah,
please
that's good.
approach? This is.
The amount of times that they had to approach today, insanity, absolutely insane. Constantly, Miss Vasquez, would object because there was no foundation, or it was leading, or it was hearsay, or something. It was always something. Amber's attorneys are trash. Yeah, and Miss Vasquez, she is absolutely amazing at what she does. Look at Johnny. Oh, Johnny, so handsome.
The MRSA that got on his.
Anyone in evidence? Anyone in evidence?
All right, thank you.
Here we go.
Ms. Heard, you contend that there's another incident of abuse in March of 2015 after you and Mr. Depp returned from Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And incident took place on March 23rd, 2015?
That's correct.
And this supposedly occurred in the penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building?
That's correct.
You had found text messages between Mr. Depp and another woman, right?
That is correct.
So you confronted him about cheating on you.
That's correct.
And this was about 2 weeks after you had returned from Australia.
That's correct.
So this is shortly after Mr. Depp supposedly sexually assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was 2 weeks after he assaulted me, yes.
And you decided to confront him about cheating on you?
I didn't decide to. I wanted to.
Mr. Depp's finger was freshly injured at this point, right?
He had a cast on it.
The top of his right finger had been cut off 2 weeks prior,
That is correct.
and he had a pin in his finger, true?
I don't recall when the pin was placed.
A skin graft?
I'm not quite sure. He had several different procedures and they were kind of spread out over a period of time. So I don't remember what happened and
One of
when
those-
exactly.
Procedures was to treat the MRSA that got on his finger too, right?
At some point, I knew he had an infection.
And his right hand was in a bandage, right?
It was casted.
So it's your testimony that Mr. Depp was able to attack both you and your sister with his hand in that state, right?
That is correct. He had a hard plaster cast on it.
Debbie Lloyd was present in the penthouses when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you claim that Mr. Depp threw a Red Bull can at Miss Lloyd that evening.
Yes, that's correct.
And you put in a sworn statement to that effect in the UK case, right?
That is correct.
But that's not true, is it?
That's what happened.
You know what a deposition is, right, Ms. Heard?
I've had several, yes.
Yeah, so you know what it's when someone provides testimony under oath.
That is correct.
You're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case, correct?
That is true.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial, right?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. May we approach?
All right.
So in a deposition, Ms. Heard, you know it's when someone provides testimony under oath, right?
That's correct.
And you're aware that Miss Lloyd was deposed in connection with this case.
That's correct.
And Miss Lloyd's deposition testimony was played earlier in this trial.
Yes.
So you heard Miss Lloyd testify under oath that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her.
I can't remember if she didn't recall that or if she said it didn't happen. I don't remember. I vaguely sense she didn't recall anything.
So it's your testimony that Miss Lloyd would forget that Mr. Depp, a very famous patient of hers, threw a can of Red Bull that nearly missed her, according to your version of events?
To be fair, I just don't remember if she said when she testified that she didn't recall that incident or if it didn't happen. I don't remember what she testified to, but I have a vague sense that she didn't recall much at all.
She recalled and she testified in this courtroom that Mr. Depp never threw a can of Red Bull at her. That was her testimony, wasn't it?
I don't recall what her testimony was with regards to that one incident, no.
You actually filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license right before she was supposedly deposed in this case, didn't you?
No, I don't believe I did.
Are you aware that someone filed a complaint against Miss Lloyd's nursing license in connection with her care of Mr. Depp for failing to report abuse?
No, I had no idea. You're the first person to let me know about that.
It's your testimony under oath, that wasn't you?
But that is my testimony. I didn't even know about that until now.
Travis McGivern was also present when Mr. Depp supposedly attacked you, correct?
He walked in at some point.
And you heard his testimony that it was actually you who punched Mr. Depp. Isn't that right?
It's always been my own testimony that I hit Johnny.
And you who was throwing things at Mr. Depp.
I hit him in defense of my sister. I didn't have anything to throw at him. I never threw anything at him. I hit him when he attacked me and my sister.
She claims that the only time she ever actually hit him was when Whitney was part of the ordeal, correct? But yet then other times she says that she hit him in defense all the time. And there's so many different recordings where it just leads you to believe that she was the only one being violent, like physically. I don't know, what opinions you've all gathered, but I mean, she's literally spoken it from her own mouth. Let's proceed.
Specifically when he moved for her. That's when I hit him.
So it's your testimony under oath. You threw nothing at Mr. Depp. Mr. McGivern's lying.
I have thrown things at Johnny,
No,
to be clear,
not
but not
thrown
that
things.
occasion.
That evening.
Not on that occasion.
So it's your testimony, Mr. McGivern. Imagine that you were throwing things at Mr. Depp from the mezzanine level down towards where Mr. Depp and Mr. McGivern were standing.
Well, he certainly wasn't going to say it about his client.
Ms. Heard, you and Mr. Depp kept a journal together, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
You wrote each other messages in that journal, right?
That is true.
Eric and I do that.
If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 91. I'm only going to be showing you certain portions of this, so if we could please call this Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A. This is the journal that you and Mr. Depp
For just
kept
a
with each other
moment,
in electronic form.
Could you
correct?
imagine being
correct.
a member of this jury? Like, could you imagine? She just continuously looks at them and stares deep into their souls. Like, I just imagine it to be extremely uncomfortable and excruciating.
And if we could scroll through, these are all entries that you made in the journal, correct?
I apologize. Give me just a moment.
Is it done?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm going to move for the admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 91A, and I've gone ahead and redacted Mr. Depp's writings as on hearsay grounds.
I'm going to object, Your Honor, may we?
Okay.
Let's just skip ahead, shall we?
I can get with.
I don't remember what the first.
Here we go.
Let's start with the first page. It's a picture.
Your Honor,
It's a picture.
they haven't given me the pages yet.
This poor lady.
Writing them down.
They haven't given me the pages.
Let's write them down first.
I don't even know her attorney's name. That's
You could
how
please
much
publish this
significance she
immediately.
holds.
91A in evidence.
Thank you.
Over objection.
This is a picture that's on the inside cover of the Love Notebook, correct?
That's correct.
And this is a picture of you and Mr. Depp.
That's correct.
And you're in Australia in this picture, aren't you?
Yes, but that's much later once we returned.
You can see that Mr. Depp's right hand is bandaged, right?
Yes, that's correct. That was after it had recovered significantly. That's not what it looked like during the incident we were just talking about.
So this is a picture after the events in Australia in March of 2015, correct?
Yeah, yes, that photograph was taken months later.
We have the jury look at that photograph again, please.
They were a beautiful couple.
Let's now turn to page 3. This is a note you wrote in the journal to Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what it looks like, yes.
This is actually the first note you wrote to him in this journal.
I don't remember what the first note was.
The date on this note is
Because she didn't really give a shit.
2015, correct?
That is correct. That was during our honeymoon period.
This is just a little bit over 2 months after the events in Australia in March of 2015, right?
That's correct. We were back in a honeymoon phase. That was the period of sobriety I spoke about yesterday.
When after Mr. Depp had allegedly assaulted you with a bottle, right?
It was after the stairs and it was after the Australia incident, yes. And he got clean and sober and we went back to Australia.
It's also 2 months after you punched Mr. Depp because you allegedly thought he was going to throw your sister down the stairs, right?
I hit him when he swung at my sister. And this is written months later.
XX Slim, just
You
like
thought
on
he
the
was gonna
knife.
throw your sister down the stairs like he had thrown Kate Moss down the stairs, right?
He swung at Whitney and I had heard a vague rumor about that. And so it's what I thought of.
This first message to Mr. Depp in your journal, you write, quote, "True love isn't about just the madness of passion or instead picking the safety of peace. No, it's about having both, falling madly in love with your friend. That is what has surprised me perhaps the most, that I have seen in you the true bones of friendship and respect. But of course, I still, perhaps more than ever, want to rip you apart, devour you, and savor the taste. Fret not, XX Slim."
Yes, it's a love note.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
And you're Slim, right?
That's correct.
Sir, I'm now going to ask you to take a look at the very last entry you wrote in this journal, which seems to be from April 8th.
Honestly, the outcome of all of this is really tragic. Because they had a lot of passion, but they let the passion turn into something totally different. Instead of letting it lead them to more love and romance and just good chemistry, they let it go down an evil, like negative route. And mostly because Amber chose for it to be that way. She ended up making it more about her and her career and trying to further her life than worrying about their life together. It's tragic.
That would be April 8th, 2016, correct?
I'm not quite sure. I don't see the year written on there and I don't recognize it yet.
It would be a couple weeks. April 8th would be a couple weeks before your birthday, though, right?
That's correct.
Just to confirm, this is a note you wrote to Mr. Depp, right?
That's what it looks like, yes.
And on the second page of this note, you wrote the following. Quote, "I'm sorry I can get crazy. I'm sorry I hurt you. Like you, I can get wicked when I am hurt, when I feel provoked, shattered. And last night I was. I felt abandoned about the Lily Rose thing, felt absolutely bewildered about your not coming home on my last night here, and was heartbroken and angry after many attempts in vain on my part to rectify the situation and make amends on the last night of what was otherwise a gorgeous trip with you. I'm so sorry for my part. None of this is meant to be an excuse for hurting you, because the truth is, nothing is. There is never a reason good enough to hurt you. You are the last thing in the whole world who deserves it. Last person I ever meant to hurt. I love you, Steve. I am forever yours, Slim." Did I read that correctly?
That's correct.
And here we go. This should be the juicy shit I was wanting to show you guys.
Over 2 days of testimony in a Virginia court, Amber Heard faced off with one of Johnny Depp's lawyers amid Depp's $50 million defamation lawsuit against her. And several notable moments stood out from her cross-examination by attorney Camille Vasquez. Here are 4 must-see takeaways.
You testified under oath, quote, "The entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity," end quote. That statement wasn't true.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's
It is
something I
true.
want to talk
I
about.
pledged the entirety to charity.
So before she was telling everyone, yeah, I donated it. I donated the full 7 million. I donated it. I donated it. Then now she's like, keeps saying that she pledged it, and that in her mind, pledging and donating are the same thing. She means that she pledged it all, not actually that she donated it already. No, she wanted people to have the idea that she had already donated the full 7 million. And she's already been paid the full 7 million, but she's not paid it to the UCLA or to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. She's done neither.
The statement.
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for
Ms.
the
Heard,
entire
Ms.
house
Heard,
at one time.
respectfully,
You pay it
I'm
over
not asking,
time.
Ms. Heard.
All right, next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you
to
didn't
charity.
donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to obligate. I mean,
Camila, like I
that's a no,
told you
right,
guys,
Richard?
she eats her alive, especially about the divorce, like the amount, the 7 million. It was all supposed to be donated and such, and even how she has Elon to donate. I think it was maybe 500,000 to each one of those. But then she's like, yeah, but it doesn't go towards my pledge either. Let's watch.
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety.
I want to be very clear. I made the promise. Do I plan on keeping it? I don't know.
I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because
Listen, I know what it's like to want to do things and not be able to do them. But if you truly mean something, then you'll find a way to do it. It may take some time, yeah. But here's the thing. The $7 million came and went a long time ago, and she still has not paid it.
I've been sued.
So clearly she was using it for things that she needed or to whatever. But clearly she needed it, and she tries to let on like, I didn't want nothing from him. Well, you may not have wanted it, but you used it and you didn't donate it. Right?
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities.
She had it 13 months before the lawsuit began. Before the last lawsuit, might I add.
You pledged it to. Is that correct?
I
Ms. Heard?
disagree with your characterization.
Yeah, and she disagrees with a lot of questions. She like almost she's in a lot of shit, really.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name. And
Yeah, that's the
at the
only thing
time,
she's
I was being
interested
called
in
a
is
liar,
her
and my motives were
and
weak.
her name. And it seems to me, like I said, that's the only thing she doesn't like is for people to know the truth about her, that she is a liar and a gold digger.
Questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger
Oh,
star.
there's no
and had more
doubt.
publicity.
There's no doubt, Amber. We
I
all
wanted to
know.
remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen. You wanted to be seen, excuse me, as a noble victim of domestic violence.
I
didn't
have
you?
never.
That is
never
exactly what
wanted
she
to be seen.
wanted. She wanted to be known as someone who had been abused sexually, mentally, and physically. She felt that it would draw eyes to her, and it did. Only now the truth's coming out, and it's not going so well. Right, Amber? Yeah, that correct?
As a victim. Nor have I
You-
ever called myself one.
Yes, you
told the
have.
jury that in 2012, I was in the beginning stages of this, just learning these patterns. I was learning that drinking kind of correlated with the violence, end quote. Is that right?
That is correct.
So it was during these cycles of violence in 2012 that you gave Mr. Depp a knife as a gift.
I gave him a knife.
Till death do us part.
I think for a birthday present early in our relationship. I believe it was around 2012, but I'm not certain.
We've seen a picture of that knife, but I think we should bring out the real thing.
All the knife.
Yes, that's it.
That's the knife you gave to the man who was hitting you, right, Ms. Heard?
I wasn't worried. he
Yeah,
was
she
gonna stab
claims
me
that
with it.
he is such a monster and she's so
But you
scared
gave
of
it to him
him,
while he was
and
abusing you.
yet she gives him a knife. Like, are you not afraid he's going to stab you with that during one of these rages where he abuses you physically, mentally, sexually? I mean, Camila really drives home the point that she's obviously not afraid of Johnny. Taking pictures, making fun of him, sending them to her friends, buying him knives, just a lot of things. She's really good at this.
Allegedly.
I gave it to him that year.
You testified yesterday that you sought a temporary restraining order on May 27th, 2016, because you wanted to change your
And
locks.
get this, so when she
Yes, I do.
got this, Johnny was in Australia, so she was not afraid of him harming her because they were miles and miles, thousands of miles apart. She done it for attention. She done it so that the reporters would come and swarm her and she would get, noticed.
Those locks were to the penthouses at the Eastern Columbia building, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
You changed the locks to the penthouses on May 22nd, 2016.
I attempted to.
You either
Why
did or
felt
you
comfortable
didn't.
having James Franco over the evening of May 22nd, 2016, Ms. Heard?
I do not know when. I do not know when James came over.
Let's remind.
She reminds her of a lot of things today.
Which is already in evidence, and play from 2:54 through 4:39.
There they are. Notice, hold on. Notice that he knows where the camera is. So does she. And you can tell he's done this before. He just tries to play it nonchalantly like he's not there with her. But yet, literally, the whole penthouse area is for her, Johnny, and their people. So when he gets up to the penthouse floor, where else would he be going? Duh. I hadn't seen that part where they were like caressing one another.
That's you and Mr. Franco on May 22nd, 2016, right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
And you're taking him up to the penthouses, aren't you?
That's where I lived, yes.
And it's past 11 p.m. at night, isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure the time it looked like that.
You knew Mr. Depp was out of town on
She
May
knows what time it
27th when
was.
you went to get the domestic violence restraining order, isn't that right?
I don't know if I knew that at the time.
You knew Mr. Depp was heading out on a European tour that week, isn't that right?
I'm not quite sure what I understood of his schedule at that time.
You knew he wouldn't be back for weeks, right?
No, that's incorrect.
Oh, geez. So thank you, ETV, for that. And so, yeah, this was something a little different. Obviously, not good at it yet. I started out accidentally streaming on Facebook, so that tells you a lot. But this is the new channel, and I'll probably be doing most of my stuff here from now on. Hopefully, it'll be a lot better than today's attempt at doing a reaction video, because normally people don't do those live. Maybe this is a new thing, reactions live. Yeah, so I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Toodles.